The best people, the best coverage. Jeff Gianola, only on Coin 6 News.
The forecast from hell. Why America may see more killer tornadoes and floods, hurricanes and wildfires in the years ahead. Aftermath of the death at Daytona. Did safety collide head-on with a race for ratings? For police, it's the next best thing to X-ray vision. The Supreme Court will decide whether it's legal. And Eye on America. In the battle of the sexes, this woman is waving a white flag.
This is the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather reporting from CBS News headquarters in New York.
Good evening. There are new and dire predictions tonight about the future of our planet. Around the world, glaciers are in full retreat. Some, like the ancient ice cap on Mount Kilimanjaro in Africa, could be gone in a decade or two. It's a dramatic symptom of the warming of the Earth, detailed in a new 1,000-page United Nations report, Climate Change 2001. It predicts the new century will bring, and I quote, large-scale and possibly irreversible changes affecting every last person on Earth. Correspondent Byron Pitts has more on the CBS Weather Watch.
Imagine a Texas-type heat wave in Toledo, Ohio. Wildfires year-round in California. That 500-year flood that devastated Grand Forks, North Dakota, occurring every 5 years. It is a doomsday scenario detailed in a report sponsored by the United Nations and researched by 700 of the world's leading experts on global warming.
We believe that the rate at which climate is projected to change now is unlikely to be enough affected by mitigated efforts.
Simply put, weather phenomenons like those killer tornadoes last year, or the severe flooding in Chile over the weekend, all occurring in this century more often with more devastating results. And all man can do now is slow it down.
What we have to do is get very busy so we don't have catastrophic change.
This is punishment, say scientists, for sins of the past, the end result of years of pollution. The world is now dependent on fossil fuels that produce carbon dioxide, greenhouse gases that stay in the atmosphere 100 years after they're released. The result, the worldwide temperature is expected to increase by 2 to 10 degrees in the next century, and there will be serious consequences in the United States. In the Southeast, severe coastal flooding, waterborne illnesses like malaria, wildfires in the Everglades. Similar problems out west, along with a massive influx of refugees from Mexico and Latin America. In the Midwest, deadly heat waves and severe droughts. And in the Northeast, what is now precious waterside property could one day be underwater. Scientists say it's no longer a matter of if, but when. Byron Pitts, CBS News, New York.
It's impossible to say with accuracy if global warming is behind the current drought in Florida, but the long dry spell is making this an especially dangerous wildfire season. Tonight, firefighters have their hands full with a wind-driven fire that has blackened more than 9,000 acres and forced closure of Interstate 4 between Orlando and Tampa. The same Florida winds driving that fire are having an effect in space. The shuttle Atlantis will have to stay up there for a second extra night because dangerous crosswinds again prevented a landing today at the Kennedy Space Center. They'll try again tomorrow. Auto racing safety experts said today it may be possible to protect drivers in the kind of crash that killed stock car champion and legend Dale Earnhardt in yesterday's Daytona 500. Earnhardt's death in the last lap of the race drew fans to his North Carolina headquarters today to pay respects. As CBS's Bobby Harley reports, with the right equipment, some believe he might have survived.
Got into him, and here he goes.
Even hitting the Daytona Raceway wall at 180 miles an hour, the crash that killed Dale Earnhardt at first didn't look like much.
That's the kind of crash that hurts you.
An autopsy today revealed NASCAR's biggest draw, legendary Dale Earnhardt, died from blunt force trauma to the head.
So that's what we expect it happens, and if so, this is what this is designed to lessen the chances of that happening.
At a small factory in Atlanta, former driver Jim Downing now makes what's known in the racing world as HANS, or head and neck supports. On the market for years, NASCAR has only recently promoted their use to its drivers, including Dale Earnhardt, a throwback to racing's grittier days.
He's seen the videos, seen the device. He knows it exists. Just wasn't interested.
NASCAR doesn't require its drivers to use the head and neck support, even though safety experts say the device probably would have saved 7 of the 8 NASCAR drivers killed in the last 10 years. After a yawner of a race last year, NASCAR tweaked the rules to make it more exciting. It slowed down the cars, clumping them closer together. And many feel that led to this spectacular wreck, just 25 laps before Earnhardt's last run.
3-car incident turned into a 17-car pileup.
Still, friends say Earnhardt welcomed the changes.
It's pretty neat to do something you thoroughly enjoy. You look forward to getting up every day to go do and to make a living, make money at it too.
The death of a legend made the risk real. Just today, 25 other drivers have ordered the device that could have saved Earnhardt's life. Bobby Harley, CBS News, Homestead, Florida.
The U.S. Navy will convene an unprecedented public court of inquiry this Thursday, open to television cameras, into the sinking of a Japanese fishing boat by an American submarine. Japan said today it wants the fishing boat captain to be there and take part in the investigation. And as CBS's David Martin reports, if the Navy agrees, the captain might be among the first to hear the sub-skipper's version of what happened.
Commander Scott Waddell, the captain of the Greenville, has refused to answer questions by the National Transportation Safety Board and will remain silent until the Navy convenes its court of inquiry later this week. Seen here in a video taken by civilians out for an earlier cruise aboard the Greenville, Waddell's confident pride now takes on a bitter irony.
This is the submarine that you want when you want the adversary to be scared. When trouble calls, we go. We're there on station, and they don't know it.
That earlier video shows a civilian, we've obscured his face and the other civilians to protect their privacy, at the same control station manned by Jack Clary on the day of the accident. Clary insists a member of the crew was really in control.
The Navy man had his hands on my hands, and he began to pull first, and then I just pulled up with him. But he was guiding me and doing it as I did it.
Clary also insists the 16 VIPs did not distract the crew. About half the civilians have now been interviewed by the National Transportation Safety Board, but only Waddell can explain his disastrous decision to surface. The Navy has turned over to the NTSB the data collected by the Greenville sonar, which was tracking the sounds of ships on the surface. That same data was available to Waddell when he executed the emergency surfacing drill, just like this one with civilians aboard last year.
400 feet.
That's Waddell's voice counting off the depth as the Greenville shoots upward at a steep angle.
100 feet, here we are.
But on Waddell's last drill, 7,000 tons of submarine sank the Japanese ship.
We heard a thud, and a second later, the captain said, "Good God, what the hell was that?"
The Navy is now faced with the daunting task of recovering what remains of the Japanese ship from 1,800 feet of water. The Navy has never tried to raise an object that big from so great a depth. David Martin, CBS News, The Pentagon.
Up next on the CBS Evening News, a day of unthinkable tragedy now preserved in America's memory. And later, why some charities say the Bush tax plan could be a recipe for disaster.
It's been a long time coming, but I'm leaving you in good hands. Sarah?
Thanks, Dad. Taking care of business. In business, you can count on things to change. That's why millions of companies count on Office Depot to help them take care of business.
Taking care of business.
Starkers needs to do what's never been done in the history of tuna. Something fresher tasting, really easy. Fresher. Easier.
I've got it.
fresher tasting Star-Kissed tuna in a new easy-to-use pouch.
Introducing the new Star-Kissed Flavor Fresh pouch. It's better because it's more convenient. Just tear and use. No draining, no hassle. And it's vacuum sealed so it tastes better, fresher. The new Star-Kissed Flavor Fresh pouch.
Our best ever.
Chrysler and Jeep vehicles continue to receive more and more and more awards. And now it's time to reward you with the Chrysler and Jeep Rewards program. Now for a limited time, get 0.9% APR financing on select Chrysler and Jeep vehicles. Reward yourself today with one of our award winners. And that's better than carrying around any trophy.
A nationwide manhunt for two teenagers wanted in the murder of two Dartmouth professors ended today at an Indiana truck stop. 16-year-old James Parker and 17-year-old Robert Tullock were arrested by an alert Indiana sheriff's deputy. They were lured to the truck stop after a deputy overheard a trucker on a CB radio trying to find two teens a ride to California. The deputy pretended to be another trucker and offered to meet them. Police have refused to discuss a motive in the stabbing death of the two professors in their New Hampshire home last month. It was one of the darkest days in American history, the day Timothy McVeigh's truck bomb blew up the federal building in Oklahoma City. Today, President Bush helped dedicate a new museum that will ensure the 168 people, including many children who died that day, and the lessons that were learned will not be forgotten. CBS's John Roberts is in Oklahoma City.
Across the generations, the message today was clear.
The time for mourning may pass, but the time for remembering never does.
It was a moment that changed the nation, now frozen in time at the new Memorial Museum. The shattered concrete, the bent and twisted steel, shoes from the daycare center where 19 children died. Among them, Janie Coverdale's grandsons, Aaron and Elijah.
We still have to let people know what really happened that day. We still have to touch people to make sure this never happens again.
6 years have done little to ease her pain. The children's room preserved, save the few toys she donated to the museum. Even that was like giving away a piece of their lives.
We would say to her every time we saw her, we need something for Aaron and Elijah. And she would say, I can't.
The museum is a story of lives and of death, of rescue and rebirth. But there is one chapter yet to be written.
And when I saw this, I just held on to the fence and I cried.
Priscilla Salyer lost co-workers and friends in the bombing. She fell 3 stories into the pit and was trapped for 4 hours. She has asked to be in Terre Haute, Indiana, as Timothy McVeigh is put to death by lethal injection.
I want to be there because I need to know that that justice has been served.
She will not allow herself anger. That, she says, would give McVeigh his victory. For Janie Coverdale, anger and anguish are now her only companions. Watching McVeigh die may finally let her move on.
I promised the boys the day I was told that their bodies had been identified, that I was going to follow this through till the end. And the end is Tim's execution.
Defiant to the end, McVeigh has declared that he would not ask President Bush, the man he calls the Reaper, to spare his life. Barring any last-minute appeals, McVeigh will be executed in 86 days. Dan?
John Roberts in Oklahoma City. Coming up next here on the CBS Evening News, why this man of the cloth has little faith in the Bush tax cut plan.
A religious institution.
I don't want to climb a mountain. I don't want to run a marathon. I don't want to be 20 again. Oh, 50 would be nice. I just want to spend the day outside, planting tulips with Max.
Vioxx is here, a prescription medicine for the most common type of arthritis pain, osteoarthritis. One little pill, taken just once a day, can provide 24-hour relief. People with allergic reactions such as asthma to aspirin or other arthritis medicines should not take Vioxx. In rare cases, serious stomach problems such as bleeding can occur without warning. Tell your doctor if you have liver or kidney problems. For more information, ask your doctor or pharmacist about once daily Vioxx for the relief of osteoarthritis pain. And you may be able to plan your day around your life instead of your pain. Vioxx for everyday victories.
I prefer using natural ingredients. That's why I take Beano. Beano helps prevent gas from problem foods with a natural food enzyme. It's not a drug. So if you prefer a more natural approach, prevent gas with Beano.
I may look young, but I still suffer from hot flashes. I discovered a natural way to deal with it. Healthy Woman, from the makers of Monistat. Healthy Woman's a soy menopause supplement that helps relieve hot flashes and night sweats. Healthy Woman.
It's just a beautiful, wonderful car.
Now is the time to check out the great new cars and trucks from Oldsmobile. Because every new Oldsmobile comes with a General Motors commitment, a 5-year, 60,000-mile GM protection plan, and all vehicles come with continued availability of service and parts.
We're considering buying another Oldsmobile because of that.
Right now, get 0.9% APR financing or up to $3,000 cash back on 2001 Oldsmobiles.
I think it's a good investment for my family.
Now's the time to do it. Take advantage.
See your Oldsmobile dealer for details.
A report out today says some of America's biggest charitable foundations have been hit hard by the declining stock market. According to the Chronicle of Philanthropy, foundation assets declined in 2000 for the first time in 10 years. About 10% of the foundations say they expect to give less to charity this year. Some charities are worried that they could take another financial hit if Congress goes along with President Bush's plan to scrap the estate tax. CBS's Jim Axelrod has your report on that.
Good to see you. God bless you.
Father Bill Greenlaw does the Lord's work and sets the president's example.
Anyone who is hungry is welcome here.
His soup kitchen at New York's Holy Apostles Church serves 250,000 meals a year. Exactly the kind of faith-based service President Bush sees reducing government's role as a safety net.
Enjoy your meal.
But Father Bill says while the president is asking charities to do more, he's proposing they do it with less by eliminating the estate tax.
It's crazy, in my judgment, to think about eliminating that so that the most wealthy of our society can become still more wealthy.
It's a tax that can take more than half of a wealthy person's estate. To avoid it, people write wills that leave money to charities rather than the government. The IRS estimates between $14 and $16 billion are given away to avoid the estate tax each year.
Philanthropist Edith Everett says the tax has become an invitation to give.
Most people who have money understand that if they allocate it and they can get twice the bang for the buck, that it's a big incentive.
But Republican Jennifer Dunn, the bill's sponsor in the House, says don't assume donations will dry up if what she calls the death tax dies.
I believe when people have more dollars in their pockets, they'll give more to charity. That's a very deep thread of altruism that runs through us.
I think that's just dead wrong.
Father Bill, who has to raise $34,000 each week to keep the soup pots full, is doubtful.
The gifts will be reduced in size and number.
Is it going to make your job more difficult here?
Of course it is. Of course it is.
I think you should tell him not to be fearful, that just because things have been done in that way for years, that doesn't mean that the dollars won't come from people who care about what he's doing.
Father Bill will pray she's right, but on the soup lines and the front lines, he won't take it as an article of faith. Jim Axelrod, CBS News, New York.
Coming up next on CBS, Big Brother is watching. The U.S. Supreme Court considers where to draw the line when it comes to high-tech surveillance.
This has more calcium than Tums?
It's true. Maalox Quick Dissolve Chewables have more calcium than regular Tums.
That's even better.
And they dissolve faster than Tums.
I'm gonna go for the Maalox.
Quick Dissolve your heartburn away and get more calcium.
No doubt about it.
Forbes magazine carefully evaluated over 1,000 mutual funds and chose this one to add to its honor roll, the Strong Opportunity Fund. Call 1-800-4STRONG. You're one call away from a strong portfolio.
Dinner time?
No.
He hates peas. So I try to move things here and there, like hiding some in his salad.
Go for it.
I didn't make any mess.
And something tells me that eventually he'll learn to like them.
Is it good?
Yeah, real good.
Peas were the first step. Now we have some other things to work on.
Around here, the dressing is Kraft. Try light done right. They took out half the fat, but left the taste.
Feeling a little nervous about getting on the bus?
Yeah, I don't want to go.
You have to go to school.
I don't know if I want to go, though.
That'll be fun.
I want to hang out with you.
Oh, girls' first day. Be nice. First days are always a little scary.
I'm going to miss you.
It's gonna be a bride.
Chevy Malibu. It's dependable, just like you. Chevy Malibu. We'll be there.
I can't wait to hit those links.
Man, I can't wait to hit the trails.
Why am I doing this?
Seasonal allergies can make you feel miserable. Only Once Daily Allegra has fexofenadine for long-lasting, non-drowsy allergy relief, so you can feel more like yourself again for patients 12 and older. Side effects include headache, upper respiratory tract infection, and back pain. Call your doctor now for more information about Allegra and enjoy your world.
Sued for $7 million. That's what happened when he published his research on a new drug. What's going on? Eye on America tomorrow on the CBS Evening News with Dan Rather.
Consider this. Can surveillance of your home be a violation of your right to privacy in your home? That's a question the U.S. Supreme Court will take up tomorrow. CBS's Diana Olick reports it's just one of many constitutional issues raised by new high-tech devices used increasingly by the government for, among other things, crime fighting.
Late one night in 1992, a government investigator sat outside this Oregon home and looked. He looked through a thermal imaging camera, which detects heat. He suspected the man inside was using hot lamps to grow marijuana. Later, with a search warrant, that was confirmed, and Danny Kylo was arrested.
You know, what I did was wrong, but what they did was wrong, you know, and that's exactly what I'm trying to get across.
Kylo claims the use of the high-tech camera was an illegal search.
These are evenly spaced lights at the very peak of the roof.
Attorney Ken Lerner will argue Kylo's case before the Supreme Court tomorrow.
The electronic device is being used as a surrogate for actual physical entry, and that's what we object to.
I can't see through walls. I can't see people going to the bathroom, having sex.
35% of state and local law enforcement agencies use thermal imagers in the war on drugs. They're particularly helpful in Maine, where the weather forces drug growers inside.
Everything that's white is heat.
Maine agent Tom Milligan, demonstrating the device, argues it's just one piece of the investigative puzzle.
We don't go out and do a thermal image for a criminal investigation until the very last step.
As with most technology, the advantages to some come at a price to others. Now the Supreme Court must decide if it's possible to invade the privacy of a home without ever entering it. By sensing its heat, are you searching it?
A man's castle is his home. If they can invade the home, what else can they do? You know, you have no rights. It's not to land as a free.
This case could also serve as a foundation for future technological advances, because the more the latest gadgets allow us to see, the more they will inevitably allow us to see too much. Diana Olick, CBS News at the Supreme Court.
Brazilian riot police say they've regained control of prisons around the city of Sao Paulo. The uprising at 29 prisons, organized by an inmate gang, began yesterday during visiting hours. Thousands of hostages were taken, mostly family members. At least 12 inmates were killed. Hundreds who surrendered were searched for hidden weapons. Up next, Eye on America, a report from the front lines of the battle of the sexes. Wait till you hear their strategy.
He's going to be stumbling around.
You'd try anything to get some relief from your nasal allergy symptoms. But before you change your life, make an easier change. Ask your doctor about Flonase. Multi-symptom Flonase relieves all these nasal allergy symptoms. Sneezing, itchy, runny nose, and congestion. Multi-symptom Flonase once a day relieves them all day and night. For best results, use daily. Side effects are generally mild and may include headache, nosebleed, or sore throat. Call to learn more. So before you change your life, make an easier change. Ask your doctor about multi-symptom Flonase. When you get it all it takes is Flonase.
New from the makers of Imodium, a fast, effective way to relieve the discomfort of gas. Introducing Gas Aid, maximum strength. Restore yourself with new Gas Aid from the makers of Imodium.
I kept telling myself my overactive bladder was no big deal, but I was going so often. And suddenly, right in the middle of the show, come on, Kevin. Grandpa needs a bathroom. I really had to hurry. That did it. I asked my doctor about Detrol.
Prescription Detrol effectively treats overactive bladder, a medical condition. Detrol helps control bladder contractions that cause those sudden urges. If you have certain types of stomach, urinary, or glaucoma problems, do not take Detrol. The most common side effect is dry mouth. Some others may include dry eyes, headache, constipation, and indigestion. Overactive bladder is not normal at any age, so don't wait. Ask your doctor today about Detrol, the brand doctors prescribe most for overactive bladder.
Detrol made a difference for me.
Looking for work? How do you begin? Our step-by-step job hunting guide cuts through the confusion. Wake up to what's happening tomorrow morning on The Early Show with Bryant Gumbel and Jane Clayson.
We have an update for you now on a story that is as old as time. The relationship between man and woman. First chronicled in the Bible in the story of Adam and Eve, there is a new book out now that could change the relationship dramatically, but not without controversy. CBS's Sandra Hughes reports tonight's Eye on America.
I'm Angela.
I'm Kay.
The book is called The Surrendered Wife. Sometimes there are things that we're going to have to surrender to.
These Dallas women have joined a Surrendered Circle support group to stay strong as they implement the controversial ideas in a book they say has changed their lives. It's called Surrendered Wife. The idea is simple. Stop bossing your husband around and your marriage will blossom.
I'm willing to give up control and let him be the man that he's supposed to be.
This Dallas wife and mother leads the circle.
I'm the controlling, nagging shrew.
Or at least she used to be. Now Angela Cruz is following the Surrendered Wife program.
I have given up inappropriate control to my spouse. I have relinquished the financial responsibilities in my household.
How did her husband react?
He asked me if I had watched The Stepford Wives.
Hi, Carol. Hi, Shani. Reference to the 1970s movie about women becoming domestic zombies tickles the author of Surrendered Wife because she knows she's hit a nerve with her ideas.
She doesn't try to tell her husband how to drive and what to wear and what to have for lunch. She accepts him the way he is.
And keeps quiet about it.
The important role of duct tape in a happy marriage. Explain that.
Well, I use some humor here. And what I'm talking about is refraining from criticizing your husband.
The book calls equality a myth. It advocates turning over finances to your husband. And it has feminists and relationship experts boiling mad.
I think it has a very backward and ultimately destructive view of men and women in relationships. And of course, her view of relationships is that you can't have a give and take relationship between two equals.
Well, you know, I'm not looking for any converts of any kind. I'm just saying this is what worked for me.
And what worked for her is selling big time. Surrendered Wife skyrocketed to the New York Times bestsellers list in its first week at the bookstore. But to others, the title is a turnoff.
And it's a bunch of bunk. Hooey.
I think maybe the book should be The Surrendered Husband.
An ironic suggestion for the best-selling author, whose husband actually quit his job to work for her while getting Surrendered Wife published. In Costa Mesa, California, I'm Sandra Hughes for Eye on America.
And that's part of our world tonight. Dan Rather reporting for the CBS Evening News. See you tomorrow. Good night.
For news 24 hours a day, CBS.com on the internet and on our interactive partner, America Online, at keyword CBS News.